You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Sounds delicious.
So I'm doing the whole show tonight.
Oh, okay.
Munching on some pretzel pieces, bruh.
Could you do just like Keith Jackson instead?
Ronetti.
If we're gonna do a bit, let's at least have words.
Just want to be a badger.
Oh, that honey badger. Nothing to fuck with.
Oh,
my God.
Good times, man.
Good times. Good times to be had by all now that soccer's back here. Sort of. Kind of. On the Foreign Affair podcast. Woo! We did it! We made it, everyone. We made it. Welcome back to a world where we can actually talk about results, even if, they're just from Germany. My name is Edward Green, and as always, I am joined by McCullen Crime, Wes Bradshaw. We will discuss a little bit about what was going on with the Bundesliga this past week. It was interesting, to say the least. It did, in fact, happen. They finally got match day 26 out of the way. It's all done. And for clubs like Schalke, no fear, they probably wish it not happened. But it did happen, and that's good. And that means also probably good for the Premier League, as we'll get into in a little bit. Although
not Troy Deeney.
Yeah, not Troy Deeney. And a couple other people as well. So we'll have that. We'll go through the latest news and stuff like there, along with more news and notes, and then we'll hit the watch for. And I don't know, do we have a So Raw this week?
We do have a sad So Raw.
Is it? I did see one pop up on my Twitter that was sad, so I was kind of figuring that's what we'd get, but that's fine. That's what happens with Vince McMahon's award-winning product. Hey. Speaking of award-winning products, the Foreign Affair podcast, is presented as always by NGSC Sports and NGSC no one can deny it. At NGSCsports.com,
award-winning.
With content like this, how could we not be? We're presented by NGSC Sports and NGSCsports.com. We never stop. Hey, and now that football's not stopping anymore and is actually starting. Maybe we'll have to change it to we always start. Yeah.
I am never satisfied.
Oh.
Go with that.
Sure. But hey, what we're going with is the Bundesliga. They came back this past weekend, starting on Saturday, with Dortmund's 4-0 shellacking of Schalke. Couple other matches were also played. Leipzig going 1-1 with Freiburg. Wolfsburg getting a 2-1 win over Augsburg. Mönchengladbach with a 3-1 win over Frankfurt. And Bayern Munich with a 2-0 win over Union Berlin on Sunday. And
Munich won. What a shock.
I know, crazy. And of course, this is been a pretty competitive Bundesliga season. Right now, Bayern 4 points up on Dortmund with, and I got to get my math right here because I know Premier League is 38, but Germany is 34. So 8 matches to play. Bayern Munich has a 4-point lead over Dortmund with like a massive goal differential. But hey, that's great. And the most important thing is soccer was played. A couple players did test positive after the match. One team has gone into self-quarantine for 2 weeks. Don't really know how they're going to deal with the matches that were supposed to be played in that time. But hey, it did happen, so that's pretty good. And overall, it did seem to go off pretty well. Yes, it was weird without having fans in the stands and that sort of thing. Although, as we'll get to in a little bit, to end this section on a little lighter note, there were some other leagues who took very interesting steps to try and make the atmosphere feel a little more full, shall we say. But hey, with this going on, with the Bundesliga off to what looks to be a pretty good start, the Premier League is looking to restart their league with the aptly named Project Restart. That will go start now. Teams are back with individual training sessions, and they are looking west to get back on track with the schedule around June 19th. Now, of course, we've heard from individual players. You mentioned Troy Deeney of Watford. He does not look like he'll be playing. There was an article in the Mirror that said more Watford players are refusing to train as well. So we'll see how that goes. Watford, of course, is fighting relegation, so they kind of need good players. The good players they do have to try and stay up. But Wes, it is starting to look like there is now an actual light potentially on the end of the tunnel. And Wes's computer is apparently froze, so I will just keep this up here.
Guess who's back?
Hey, there we are.
Yay!
So just like the Premier League, we had to wait for a little while to get into.
Obviously, this is not German engineering on my end.
Oh man. Oh.
Well, if this was fine German engineering, we would have been already been halfway done the Autobahn.
Exactly. Oh. Well, hey, we'll just pick right up with it. So Wes, hey, Premier League might restart around June 19th. Troy Deeney might not do anything. Watford probably needs him to do things. All of this is going to be pretty crazy. But what are your thoughts after a weekend back of German engineered football?
Poor Schalke. In the week leading up, Roger Bennett, who we love dearly, pledged his undying German loyalty to Schalke.
Oh, Curse of Raj strikes again.
Oh, Curse of Raj, and struck hard. Everton loanee John Joe Kenny is on that squad. They wear blue. It was all perfect. Raj was calling him Schalkton. They were having a great time, and then they got absolutely hammered. So, Weston McKennie gave an interesting interview after that match. Of course, U.S. International Weston McKennie plays for Schalke. He said, without the crowd, we just we felt, we didn't get up for it properly, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And the question is, all right, Dortmund were able to. What's your excuse?
Yeah.
So that's going to be – I think that's going to be something really to keep an eye on going forward is, the crowd, and we love the crowd. I mean, that's one of the reasons we love the games.
Oh, absolutely.
Are the crowds. As I used to tell people, why do you like it? I'm like, it's basically college football with English people. It's great. There's going to have to be a lot of self-motivation here.
Yeah.
And I mean, for a guy who's a Liverpool fan, Anfield is the 12th man. We understand that. We're like Texas A&M, right? We're up to 12th man. Except we've actually won something. Oh!
Hey, got him, Aggies.
Got him! Get you, Aggies. So, I mean, that I think is going to be something going forward is who can self-motivate when it's time to be back. Obviously, Dortmund were able to do it. Erling Haaland picked right up where he left off. He's
so
just
good.
amazing. He's fantastic. You know, you look at Dortmund. Dortmund won 4-0. They didn't even start Jadon Sancho or Marco Royce.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't start Götze either, but that's not new.
Yeah, that's a different.
So they didn't start. You know, so they basically started a couple of backups and still went out and just ran roughshod over Schalke. It's going to be a really interesting run in Germany and everywhere else, really, with the lack of the crowds. Seeing whatever we're going to see, but you know, I believe they said that the viewing for Bundesliga matches was up, I believe, 735%.
Yeah, I think one I looked, it was like 600,000 viewers in England on BT Sport.
Yeah, I mean the numbers are insane,
Yeah.
and I mean when it's the only game in town and people have been without anything for so long, well, what the hell? Let's watch Germany. I enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, we don't watch Germany like we do England, but at the same time, you know what? Until England is back, I can watch the German football. I got no problem with that. So
it's the only game in town.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing to watch. So I guess I kind of have to watch it. But it was a good time had by all. So except for Schalke and Roger Bennett.
Yeah, and remember, you can't spell Schalke no fear without 4-0. Boom, got him. It's too easy sometimes. They make it too easy. Well, then, what are your thoughts as Project Restart kicks off in England? Having seen that, does this allay some of any concerns you may have had about England beginning to restart? Now, we should mention that part of the reason Germany was able to go ahead and start playing this weekend was because Germany has handled COVID-19 much better than a lot of places in the world, especially England and the United States. But, you know, Project Restart is going on. I believe there was a test. They tested 750 Premier League players and club employees that would be involved. And I think 6 was the number that came out that tested positive. Which, if you depending on who you ask, that's 0.8% of the people. That's either way too much to restart, or no, that's good enough. We're Gucci. It's, you know, again,
I'm in the Gucci camp, by the way. There, so
shocker. Not that I necessarily disagree, but yeah, it's West Positive Bradshaw. What are you gonna do? But I do think this is interesting. Now, does seeing Germany go through this, does it give you renewed confidence and hope that England in about 5 weeks will be getting as well to this point?
I mean, I'm definitely optimistic about it. Troy Deeney's kind of the headline player who's saying, you know, no, I'm not doing this. And I don't have any issue with what Troy Deeney's doing. He has a very extenuating circumstance. A very young, like basically newborn child at home, I believe a 5-month-old child who was born with some respiratory problems to start with. So for Troy Deeney, you know, it makes complete sense for him to say, look, I just can't do this right now. Right. Personally, I think the players should have a say, player by player.
Yeah.
I think they should be able to determine, you know, I don't feel safe. If you don't feel safe, then don't play. The thing is, I think there's going to be plenty enough that feel safe enough to get out and play. I really do. So at that point, I mean, you go ahead and you go on. Now, the other thing with Germany is, yes, you know, we're all very optimistic and ecstatic after 1 week of what's happened. Well, you know what? I mean, we still got more time to go here. Yeah. This wasn't a 1 week experiment and, okay, everything's fine. You know, let's see what happens after week 2. Let's see what happens after week 3. And I think England's still going to be keeping very, very close tabs on what they do. But, you know, teams were back to some individual training today. Pictures out of Melwood, of course, you know, I follow the Liverpool, so I'll give you the Melwood side. Klopp was smiling. Always good to see Klopp smiling. We've got some shaggy lads on our squad, Ed.
There's some very interesting hairstyles around the
If you Firmino Firmino looks just completely. Firmino looks like a '70s porn star right now because he has the whole mustache going, and then has this like kind of curly like mini afro thing going on. Mane definitely needs to trim up. Alisson Becker looks more and more like Jesus Christ every day. The hair has grown out to go with the beard now. He looks. I mean, he looks like a picture that you see on the walls of people's houses when you go into them. Old people in the old job. He looks just amazing. He can already walk on water for me, and he may be confirming it soon. We'll see. But I mean, so obviously I'll say for the Liverpool guys, they followed the directive about staying inside. Can't say that about everybody from Tottenham.
Sorry. Just one. It was just one. It was just one idiot.
He is such an idiot, by the way.
You really are.
And of course, our other idiot, a former Spur, but now Man City, right back.
Yeah.
Jesus God, Kyle Walker, you can. But I mean, everybody looked from the reports and the pictures coming out. Everybody looked excited to be back in training. At the end of the day, these are professionals, but at the same time, I mean, these are still young men. And, we call them young men because we're 10 years older than all of them now. At least. That might be an indictment more on us than anything. But at the end of the day, you've been quarantined for 2 months. You're 27 years old. You're used to playing this sport nearly every day of your life, and that's your release. I think they're just ready to get back and play. Mm-hmm. So, definitely high spirits. Not only that, the sun was out in Merseyside today, which mark one of those days off your calendar for the year.
True.
Yeah, I think there's just an excitement for the chance to get back right now. As you know, I'm the eternal optimist of the program. So, if you ask me, things are just going splendidly.
Absolutely, not like here out in central and eastern North Carolina, where it's just been pouring for the last couple of days, and it's probably going to continue to be pouring the next couple of days as well. I
found a pocket to go run this evening. So.
Very nice. There was a little bit of time today to go out for a nice stroll around the neighborhood as well. They're wearing a mask, of course. Of course, we mentioned the idiots that are Serge Aurier, of course, just because you talk about haircuts. My boy had to get his haircut. What can we say?
He's looking good, though, man.
It's true. That's the important thing. He is looking good. I also believe, I believe it's Werder Bremen. It was either Werder Bremen or Augsburg's. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been Augsburg's manager who broke quarantine from his hotel to go get toothpaste. Sir.
Because
you're a professional football manager. You are living in a hotel. You have somebody that can get you this, and this is not essential. I know. I'm sure. Yelling at the men in whatever German beautiful language you're doing. Hey, you gotta. You want to smell good when that happens, but sometimes there's bigger issues like this.
I mean, it's a hotel. I mean, every hotel I go to has a little tube of toothpaste in there. Well, and I'm sure the ones that a professional Bundesliga football club are playing at can, you can call the front desk. I need un toothpaste, toothpaste, and they'll jog it right up to you with typical German ingenuity, and of course everything would be fine. But no, he wanted to get out. He can't. I mean, not saying I can blame him. He wanted to get out, but now you got to burn with it. So.
Yeah. Let me see. Since we used Google Translate last week, what was this? Ich brasche san pasta.
I was close on to pasta.
Yeah, you were.
To pasta.
Oh my God, Google Translate.
I believe those are Hitler's final words, by the way.
Yeah. Real quick, we do have to talk seriously for like 5 seconds here because we'd be remiss if we didn't mention this at all. We're not going to go into it much because there's still a lot to unpack and a lot still has to come out. But we do want to mention Callum Hudson-Odoi has been charged. Yes, arrested on suspicion of rape during the coronavirus lockdown and everything. So again, bad enough. We sort of poked fun at Serge Aurier, who somehow broke quarantine 3 fucking times, and the German manager we were just talking about. But this would be a big deal in any situation.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it does look like a very promising young talent who looked to be set to going to Bayern Munich of all places. Before Chelsea's decided, no, we're holding on to this kid.
Giving him a lot of money.
Yep, and the 19-year-old
over £100,000 a week. But,
mm-hmm. So he will be facing these rape allegations, and of course we'll be keeping tabs on this, to see, because a very, very important part of Chelsea's future. For now, and so we will have to see how that goes. So that is just, we wanted to mention it. It is out there, but still far away before anything concrete comes out about that, I believe. But it did happen. The facts came out about it.
right.
And now to end our little soccer talk here on a slightly more upbeat note. I think maybe it was a couple weeks ago we talked about Germany putting cardboard cutouts of fans in the stands to give a little more life to the proceedings. And hey, that's just a good idea.
A bad idea. It's admirable.
Admirable.
It gives those fans a little ownership.
Yeah. Hey, you talked Weston McKennie talking about getting up for the matches. You pipe in a little crowd noise. You put in some cardboard cutouts of fans. That'll surely help.
Right.
Hey, the NFL. Joe Buck said they might be looking to put in digital crowds for the people at home who are watching. That might be a thing that happens. South Korea, who we should laud. They started their baseball league. We talked about that. They've been great with this coronavirus. They've been handling it very well. Sports are starting back up there. Soccer is getting started back in South Korea. And they had this dynamite plan that, along with cardboard cutouts in the stands, they decided, as South Koreans would, to put, quote, mannequins in the stands. It just so happens that these mannequins, again using air quotes, were also sex dolls. So, because sometimes Japan, South Korea, they like to get a little
kinky, don't they?
just a little. So now the professional football team that did this club, FC Seoul, according to The Guardian, is having to apologize for using sex dolls. And I don't know, this is a funny story. This also feels like a very non-story. I mean, all of them are clothed, and they're also good on them. They're all wearing masks. But I don't know. I just don't see this as a big deal. Nobody's getting super up in arms about this. It doesn't look like it's again just kind of funny. I don't even think the team has to apologize. If you're not showing just tits on stream, who cares? Who actually cares about this? I say double down, Soul. Next week I want to see male sex dolls in the stands as well, because it's not just women.
Please put pants on them.
Yes, absolutely. Fully clothed male sex dolls. Yeah. Fully clothed male sex dolls in your stadium. That's what I want. I am equal opportunity right here. That's what I want. This is.
You know me. I'm the freaky one of this podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting story to come out of South Korea. Of course, yeah. When I heard where it was, I had absolutely no doubts of its validity.
Yeah.
By any means. Yeah, man, those yeah. That's it. They all have a strange, excited look on their face. So.
Hey, I'm just looking at this picture here. Some are giving a good old thumbs up. Some are giving a peace sign. One's raising her hand. I like she has a question. I guess. I don't know. I guess. Like if I was just
are they all in mid cheer?
That's the thing. They're not actually. Well, most of them you can't tell because their mouths are covered with masks.
Oh, so, Jesus. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes it a little more family friendly.
Like, I don't even. Let's see. Let's see this tweet. Additional controversy was caused by several dolls mannequin wearing attire adorned with branding. Oh, that's not good. From adult-themed manufacturer, as well as holding signs that feature the names of 2 specific sex toys. This is the big thing. Such advertising is illegal in South Korea.
That's right. We can't have advertising.
Get your Adam and Eve commercials out of my South Korean football telecasts.
Oh, God. I want this so bad to happen. Come on, MLS. You can do it.
You canceled your All-Star game, but damn it, you can put sex dolls in there.
This week, MLS, sponsored by a Lisa Ann Fleshlight.
It'll be the most exciting thing to happen to MLS in 6 years.
It's going to be amazing. I'm telling you, I'm taking over branding and marketing for MLS.
Sure.
We're gonna call it MLS After Dark.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
How about MLS Sub All Night?
MLS balls deep. Hey,
balls to the wall.
Oh, where can we go? Where else can we go with this? Because this is what the podcast is now.
MLS, it's nuts.
MLS,
feel the thunder.
Well, you already have one is the Dynamo, so that's a good team.
And the earthquakes.
Yeah,
and the big timbers.
Oh, the Sounders.
And the Red Bulls.
Oh, Bulls is an entirely different thing. We draw the line at Bulls here, sir. We don't do that sort of thing here.
MLS, dick in your face. Okay, we're done.
That's hilarious. Just fucking hilarious. I love this. I love this story. Thank you. It seems like it was an accident. I say, just own it. Own it, South Korea FC Seoul. Own it. It's so good.
This is the best thing Korea's given us since Samsung and Hyundai.
Samsung Galaxy.
I just got my new one. I'm excited.
Oh. All right. So now this would be the point where, not would be, this is the point where we go on and pimp the Athletic and another. We can open up to other stories, but mostly we talk about the Athletic a lot here because we read so much of the Athletic. Real quick, I will say this because this happened like right before I started getting really into, I guess like international soccer, because I'm pretty sure this was like right when I was about to dive in. Apparently, Real Madrid was going to create a $1 billion resort island. Okay. This was announced back on March 22nd, 2012 in this article by Dermot Corrigan on The Athletic. It's fucking nuts. And of course, it's very, very chic powered. Oil money, baby. But just absolutely bonkers story. That of course because it's so funny, like whatever happened to Real Madrid's $1 billion resort island is the name of the headline. I'm like, what the hell are you even talking about? I didn't know.
I think I've got it saved. I haven't read it yet. So when exactly was this supposed to happen? This seems like a very 90s idea. But...
Again, so this was announced in March of 2012. Yeah, with a only 10. It was supposed to open in January 2015, and 6 years later, not really doing anything.
Welcome to Cristiano world.
Was he with Madrid at that point?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
He was.
So yeah, that's mine. And then real quick, I will also add, I haven't gotten this one yet, but I do want to do it because anytime The Athletic puts out an article with 7 different writers contributing to it, I feel like you have to read it. The Unraveling of Sunderland, How a Premier League Club Fell Apart. I really want to read this. And for me, there's like this personal thing. Not that I really care about Sunderland that much. But it took me back to like the beginnings of our podcast, when every year I would predict Sunderland would go down, and they wouldn't fucking do it until they finally did. And it just
they never stopped.
Exactly, that's true. That is a free falling elevator. So yeah, I'm very excited to, I'm excited because I don't care about Sunderland. I'm excited to read about this. And of course, when the first 2 words of your article are Sam Allardyce, well, I can only get so erect to take it back to South Korea. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Again, there's so much great stuff on The Athletic. Please check it out. But Wes, anything you want to drop out into the ether? As always, you tend to also go into their other sporting efforts as well.
That's right, and that's what I'm hitting today. You have covered the foot. I will cover some balls. Oh, wait, we're done with the South Korea bit, right?
Sure, why not?
Oh, MLS, there you go. You keep the foot. We've got the balls. So, 2 I really enjoyed this week. One in the baseball world. Mm-hmm. They're coming out with these. I believe it's going to be weekly. It's called the Nemesis series. And, they're going to be taking a look into baseball. Who was a certain great player? Who was his nemesis? Well, they started off this week with the greatest base stealer in history, Ricky Henderson. Now, who the hell is going to throw Ricky Henderson out, right? This is Ricky Henderson, who set who holds basically every stolen base record in baseball, including the 1982 season where he stole 130 bases, which is never going to be touched because nobody runs like that anymore, right?
No, God.
So they go in there and they look back, and of every great catcher that's played the game, you know who had Ricky Henderson's number more than any of them?
Unfortunately, I do now because I just looked up the article. But please,
and it's a great article.
Know. I didn't know before this. So.
Bob Boone.
No clue.
Bob Boone. Well, we know who Bob Boone is because that's Brett Aaron's dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Bob Boone, and it goes through, and he talks about, what he was able to do, how he was able to do things. It breaks down some of the mechanics of the game of, it takes Ricky Henderson 3 seconds to go from first to second. So, therefore, the pitcher has to have the ball to home plate in a second, and then I have another 1.3 to get it down to second base. And they talked about that, when he was playing for the Angels that year, and that part of his career, he played for California Angels, now the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles County, Orange County, Long Beach, and Huntington Beach, whatever they're called now. That their pitchers actually worked on shorter strides and getting to the plate quicker to shut down the Oakland running game. Being in the division, and it goes into that. It goes into a lot of the inside kind of minutia to play the game of baseball, which I eat that stuff up. And also on top of any Ricky Henderson story is amazing because that dude was batshit crazy.
That is true. That is very true.
And he's like one of the greatest baseball players. I think he's an overlooked greatest baseball player ever.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We don't talk that much about Ricky anymore unless it's like, yeah, Ricky's crazy. Just because nobody really steals bases like that anymore. Mm-hmm. But, you talking about a dude who could hit, who could walk. He wouldn't be a god in the game today just getting on base.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. And if he felt like it, he just hit a leadoff home run. Yeah. Hey, Ricky going deep. Bam. God, can you imagine Ricky Henderson on social media? My God.
Oh, please. Please, somebody clone him so we can have him now.
Can't clone Ricky, only one Ricky. Ricky, of course, spoke about himself in third person, which is just, I mean, that's God status in itself.
Of course.
When you refer to yourself, when you give interviews and refer to yourself nonstop in third person. Anyway, that was a freaking great article. And the other one I really enjoyed this week, the 25 most dominant college football teams of the past 50 years.
Ooh.
And they go down a list, and then they show you the teams who just missed out. But they really break them down nicely. They back up they back it up with a lot of statistical analysis in here. But at the same time, they talk a lot of stuff. Of course, my favorite college football team ever, the team I still think is the greatest college football team ever, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. They are number 2 on this list. So that does tell you they have a good idea what they're talking about. When Frank Gore, who's about to go in the Hall of Fame in the next few years, when he's like your change of pace third down back, yeah, that's a strong football team. When Sean Taylor, who many considered before his untimely death, like the new modern strong safety who's going to be the best strong safety ever. When that guy can only play special teams,
yeah,
that shows you how good that team is when they're redshirting first rounders all day. But a really, really cool article. They go back and they talk about some of those 70s Nebraska and Oklahoma teams. Just really, really strong. Spoiler alert, this year's LSU team, the number 4 most dominant team of all time.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
So that's strong. And then, like I said, Nebraska, they don't immediately come to your mind. Nebraska, 2 of the top 3.
Well, I think it's because Nebraska hasn't been really relevant in a long time.
Right. I mean, the last great team they had was the number 1 most dominant team was 1995 Nebraska. Mm-hmm. We remember those teams well, Tommy Frazier and Nebraska running the option and just the last great option team. Yeah. And they're just annihilating people and putting up massive rushing numbers. And so basically, starting Nebraska beat 4 teams that finished in the top 10 by an average of 31 points. Mm-hmm. So that was number 2 Florida, number 5 Colorado, number 7 Kansas State, and number 9 Kansas. And they just annihilated every one of them. But yeah, Nebraska, spoiler alert, kids, Nebraska used to be super good. Guess what? So was USC.
Yeah. Oh,
and guess what? So was Miami. Sorry, Jesus God. What am I doing this stuff? But anyway, those are my 2 big articles of the week. I thoroughly enjoyed both of them. Had to save them. There's one I've got saved that I'm really ready to read. It's called An Oral History of Tommy Lasorda's Dodgers Clubhouse.
Wow.
And it starts out, it was Animal House.
Yeah. Okay.
In the editor's note here, just to be upfront, the stories that follow involve extreme amounts of toilet humor. The words crop dusting, bad gut, and flatulence are mentioned. This is not an oral history for the faint of heart.
Okay.
I cannot wait to read that.
I will say, last week, after the podcast got done, the next day I was reading through stuff. I read an oral history, I think this was published last year, of when Zach Greinke got traded from the Diamondbacks to the Astros. And their Diamondbacks writer interviewed a bunch of the Diamondbacks players to see like how Greinke was in the clubhouse. Zach Greinke is one weird motherfucker.
He is a strange dude.
I love that guy after reading that. I always liked him. And there's something about the way, like, because if people remember, Zach Greinke actually took off like an entire year from playing baseball.
Yes.
Because
when he was in the minors.
Yeah, and he was suffering from anxiety disorders. But he got help, and he came back and remained a fantastic baseball player. Mm-hmm. So many great anecdotes in that article. One of my favorite is, I think it was Lamb. I forget what his first name is. But he was talking with Zach Greinke one day, and he went up to him and he was like, "Hey, so is there like any like particular strikeout that like just really speaks to you or that you really, really remember? He said Zach sat there thinking for a little bit, and then he starts busting out laughing. And he's like, "Oh, so did you think of one?" He's like, "Yeah, it was actually here at Chase Field in Arizona. There's this guy. I threw a curveball in the dirt, and he swung so hard he tripped and fell on the ground. It was hilarious." And he goes, "Zach, I think that was me." He's like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, I know. That's the best part.
Oh,
yeah, Grinky is a very interesting dude.
yeah.
He's not wired like your typical pro baseball player by any means.
No.
So he is definitely.
I will say almost universally. In fact, I would actually almost say completely universally. Even like those weird moments and stuff like that seem to be completely loved by his teammates. And it seems like one of those guys where if he's not on your team, you're like, that guy seems like off and weird. And then when he's on your team, you're like, oh, no, he's a good dude. He just takes a little while to warm up to you, but otherwise he's a good dude. So,
and it helps that he's arguably like the best non-Garrett Cole pitcher in baseball. So.
Yeah, fantastic guy.
That helps.
Hopefully, I don't know if he'll go into Hall of Fame, but definitely a great career. There's one more. I'll do one more quick story. He apparently he told the general manager before a day when he was pitching after warming up. He said, "Hey, I'm hitting a home run today." Apparently he gave up like 8 runs in the first 4 innings, but he got a second at bat and he jacked one out. And then he proceeded to give up like 4 more runs in the next inning. He's like, but I got my home run. So
yeah, Grinky is definitely a different kind of cat, but that almost leads to a discussion to have another day. Modern day players in the Hall of Fame, because for so many years the Hall of Fame has been about getting those big numbers.
Yeah.
And then you get someone like Greinke who might not end up with like the 300 wins, but he's more like a Koufax type where he was so dominant in his era. Mm-hmm. So there will be a definite argument for that guy. So.
I also wonder, because like, I'm going to his baseball reference page right now because I'm having trouble in remembering. Besides this Houston team, let me see here. Okay, so he played in.
Playing Arizona.
2. He made it to 3 championship series so far in his career. That started in 2004 and is now about a 15-year career. He's made it to 3 championship series, and the 1 World Series was this year in Houston. He's made the playoffs a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I wonder if he played for Kansas City when they were terrible. I wonder if people are even like really gonna know about him. I mean, he's won a Cy Young for Christ's sake, but it's one of those things where like. Yeah, he's super dominant. I agree with you. I don't know if he's going to have a lot of the quote-unquote counting numbers that the Hall was built on. He's got 205 wins in his career. I mean, he'd have to 95
He could easily hit 250 on the win number.
He could get to 250, yeah, with about 5 more good years. He could get to 250. So
if he has 5 more good years, he might be creeping that 270, 275. I mean, if he's a 15, 20 game winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he wins, say if he wins 15 for 5 more years, I mean, that's 15, 30, 45. Shit. He's near 300 if he puts together some 15-win seasons.
So
if he's on quality teams, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we'll see. I hope he gets his due at some point. It seems just again, fantastic story. There was an oral history about Zach Greinke with the Diamondbacks. Just fantastic. That's going to take us to the Watch 4. Wes, what you watching in the week that was or the week that will be?
I have finished season 1 of Community.
Okay, so you've watched Modern Warfare.
Jesus. Yeah. That was, I was already big on that show, and then that one just next level, that bad boy. That was an amazing episode of television.
Shane coming in with a giant orange paintball gun.
Yeah, Shane coming in with basically an M16 of paintball. And Jeff Winger. And then we have the somewhat cliffhanger to end season 1.
Mm-hmm.
With, Jeff, such a stud. And into season 2 now, and that show it's really good, man. I'm kind of wondering because I know it was 5 or 6 seasons.
6 seasons.
And I know I looked through it, and this is the last season where it's a lot of shows, and then it shortens up. The seasons do.
No, season 3 is the last big season.
Okay, and then they go into 13 episode seasons or something.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, season 1 is 25 episodes for some odd reason.
Yeah,
and season 2 is 24, and I think season 3 is 22. And then it's 13, 13, 10, I think, to end it.
Yeah. So I'm almost wondering, because community college is a 2-year deal. And we've already gone through an entire year in season 1.
Hey, don't worry. You just get towards the end of season 3. That might get referenced a little bit.
Oh Lord!
I'm
not worried at all. Now that I'm getting a little more background on Senor Chang, that also is making me a super happy person.
Senor Chang,
because he's becoming one of my favorite television villain characters of all time.
Oh,
and he's not even a straight on villain. He's just Chang.
Oh well. Just wait, dude.
This is basically Leslie Chow before he started his crime empire in The Hangover.
Chang's arc through this entire show is one of the most bizarre character arcs I've ever seen in anything. It doesn't make sense sometimes.
No, but that's what's great about Chang. Chang doesn't make sense. Chang is an anomaly. He's an anomaly since the first time we saw him. He's an Oriental guy. He's an Oriental teaching Spanish.
He plays guitar.
That was great. He tears up Jeff Winger's car.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jeff's poor Lexus.
Yeah. So no, you'll see plenty. Chang sticks around through the entire show.
Good. Glad to hear that. But yeah, so Community was obviously big on that. And then, I don't know if I may have brought it up a week or so ago when we did a watch for it, but we're back on the Bradshaw family film series.
Mm-hmm.
Here, me and the parents they're old, so they're quarantining. I'm young and vibrant, so I do what the hell I want, but I do like to watch shows sometimes. I may have mentioned it, but we're watching the 1985 epic miniseries North and South.
Yes, you did mention that.
I did. Tonight, before it's over, we finished the 3rd episode. They're about an hour and a half each. We finished the 3rd episode of book 1. We're in the mid 1850s at this point. Ed, things are starting to heat up. It looks like there could be a war coming, Ed.
Oh.
I don't know. Don't want to give anything away.
That's crazy.
For all of you who slept through United States history, don't want to give anything away. I'm going to say this. James Reed and Patrick Swayze, boing. Those two are eating up the screen, my man. 85, Reed, Swayze. Sounds like a presidential ticket. Oh, yeah. I don't know what's heating up more, abolitionist politics or Patrick and his secret love. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
That's enough for me.
I'm trying to think of, let's see, what have I been watching?
Have you run out of things to watch yet?
No, I haven't. Trying to think, what did I... Was there something in particular? Oh, I know. No. Well, no. No, the girl, one named producer Jack and I, we watched Frozen 2 this past weekend. We're both big fans of the Frozen 1, and we finally got around to watching Frozen 2.
How? Just think if you had a 7-year-old, how many times you would have already seen Frozen 2.
That's true.
Just think about it.
I'm not going to think about it too hard, but I will say, as someone, I genuinely, I also love telling the story. The first time I haven't watched Frozen like a bunch of times. I watched it once. I did go see it in theaters with my mom. Yeah, I am such a cool guy. But the funny part about that story is, she had come over to visit me in Rocky Mount where we were living, when I was living. And so she was visiting me around the time Frozen came out. And it was late November, and we're like, all right, let's go see a movie tonight, because it was a Saturday, whatever. So we're like, all right, let's go see Frozen, because that looked pretty cool. So we picked out a time we were going to go watch it, and it was like 7 o'clock or so. So, it's a Saturday in November, watching college football. And a game's going on, and it's tie game, it's close game, and it's like, well, we might have to leave and see if, so we can make sure we get to the movie on time. And it's like, well, they're trying for a field goal to win the game. Let's watch this. If they don't make it, it goes to overtime. Well, I'll just catch up later or something. That was the Alabama-Auburn kick six game.
So I know what you missed.
No, we saw it live.
True that.
That's what I was like, hey, let's just wait. Let's watch Alabama try to kick the field goal. If it doesn't go, so be it. And you just watch, and then the Auburn player just starts running, and it's like, oh, he's just going to score, isn't he? Oh, okay. Well, I guess we can go to the movies now.
That's sweet. And then the movie that all Alabama fans needed to see with the song "Let It Go."
Yeah,
Let it go.
Ooh. don't let go of the edge though. That will just always stick with me for that. But yeah, Frozen 2, it's really good. I liked the actual movie itself more than Frozen 1. I didn't like the songs as much as Frozen 1.
Right. Well, Frozen 1, those songs are epic. So.
Also, okay, so this is a spoiler for Frozen 2, real quick. Who fucking cares?
For some reason, I don't think our audience is too bothered with that.
Olaf getting, like, quote-unquote killed off. Fuck you, Disney, for trying to make me cry. I knew he wasn't gonna stay dead. So fuck you for trying to make me cry for that. It didn't work, by the way. I didn't cry, because I knew that fucker was coming back.
Seriously, he's your greatest moneymaker off that entire money-making franchise.
You're gonna kill all. Yeah. Oh, good try. Good game. Good effort. Besides that,
there's a lot more Eisner.
Yes,
I know you're not there anymore, but I still blame you because you're the only guy there.
No, I think he actually is kind of like, he was supposed to leave, and then Corona hit, and they're like, could you like stick around for a little while?
Eisner brought Corona.
Exactly. He wanted to stay. So no, but overall, I really liked the movie. Songs weren't as strong. They really pushed that Into the Unknown song really, really, really hard.
They were good songs, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, they were good. They just weren't like...
There's no Let It Go, there's no Do You Want to Be Listening to That.
Yeah. Also, really weird that there's no like actual villain in the movie. Like, Frozen 1 kind of did a subversion where it's what's his face that makes the heel turn right at the end. That was all. That was good. But Frozen 2 doesn't really have a villain. Like, there is a bad guy. It's their granddad who killed the native dude and started the entire war that they were having that they didn't know about. But other than that, also totally thought the black general guy, I totally thought he was Wayne Brady. I really thought he was Wayne Brady.
Wasn't it Idris Elba?
No, it's Sterling K. Brown.
That was it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was not Heimdall. But yeah.
Awesome.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah,
it is.
like you said, there was basically no villain. It was just like, oh, this is a huge misunderstanding.
Yeah, more or less. But yeah, I will say also Olaf's song about "This will all make sense when I'm older." That was pretty good. That was a pretty good bit. I did enjoy that bit. So.
Olaf is brilliant. Olaf is a brilliant character.
Yeah. Also, when Elsa goes into like the dream sequence place, whatever, and the snow version of Elsa starts singing "Let It Go," and the real Elsa like kind of cringes. Oh, mwah. That's I like that. I like that moment. That was a very, very good moment. Because you're like, oh yeah, I did do that, didn't I? Oh, I was a whiny little emo kid back then a couple years ago, wasn't I? Charades. The charades in the beginning was also good. The charades part was also like a cute little throwaway. Anyway, that's me talking about Frozen 2. It's good. If you have the Disney Plus, I highly recommend you taking a couple hours and watching it. Yeah. So with that, we will somberly transition into another somber Rob, because that's what wrestling is now apparently.
It's just sad. And not really a lot to this week. Unfortunately, there is a tragedy, and it really sucks. Shad Gaspard, a former WWE wrestler, superstar, or whatever Vince McMahon wants to call him. I believe it was on Monday. He was at the beach, at Venice Beach, California. Got caught by a riptide, dragged out to sea, and his body was actually found today, 17th. Yeah, I think that was Monday, Sunday, over the weekend. Anyway, best known for his time in WWE, he was a member of the tag team Crime Time. Which, I saw a little of Crime Time. That wasn't really during the era that I was watching very much. But just really sad. Really sad when, it's not completely uncommon to hear of a wrestling death. Usually they seem to be contributed to something else, something a little more shady or dark. And unfortunately, this was just a guy at the beach having a good time and just, unfortunately, got on a riptide. Not really anything you can do, nothing he could do. I mean, dude, this guy, when you talk about, if he had been in better shape. No one was in better shape than this dude. This dude was 6'6", 290 pounds, freaking ripped, jacked, fantastic athlete. I think he actually did some MMA in there as well. And just kind of goes to show you, riptide can get anybody. So, be careful at the beach. Beaches are opening this weekend. God, it seemed like everybody on my timeline was down at Atlantic Beach or Wilmington or Emerald Isle or somewhere. So just, folks, we'll tell you at the end, stay safe. But, this just is a moment where it just kind of hits home a little bit. So Shad Gaspard, 39 years old. Sad story to hear. Very, very tragic, unfortunately. And our hearts go out to his family and all those affected by this tragedy. But that, there's no way, obviously, to transition out of that. But this will do it for episode 315 of the A Foreign Affair podcast. Once again, presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. You can find them on the social media as well as us on Twitter as a collective. We are at AFA Pod. Wes, you are? I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21. And I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. And you can email us at allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, the iTunes Music Store, and for now, Google Play Music, although that is changing, I believe, to Google's actual podcast app soon-ish. So, sure. Whatever. Just, you can find it on Google, but please, there's so many other better ways to listen to us. Don't worry about it. So that'll do it, though, for episode 315. We are
1 week closer, hopefully, to the Premier League being back. Next week, we'll talk a little bit more about, anything else that crops up as more details come to light, as more tests get run. Obviously, another week with the Bundesliga being back. We'll see. That'll be when we start to see if there are any effects that come from the Bundesliga players interacting with each other, and we'll see if hopefully we will not see a rise in positive cases among those players, which would be good for other leagues looking to start up again. And plus plenty more jackassery to talk about, like South Korean sex dolls in the stands. Of course. So Wes, before we get out of here, anything else you'd like to add?
Phase 2 here in the great state of North Carolina kicks off on Friday.
Yes.
Anyway.
You're almost back. There's only so much left to open now, Wes.
It's so nice when my constitutional rights are returned to me by the government. But anyway, it's like, we're just loaning them out, right? Yeah, sure. I need a haircut desperately, so next Friday I'm looking for a haircut. Tomorrow to hit me up earlier than that.
I actually got a call from my salon. They are getting me in on June 11th. Is when I'll be getting to do one.
Salon Day Edward. I get there. Let's check June 11th real quick. Let's see what everybody else is doing on June the 11th. I'll be working June the 11th, but I'm glad you're getting your hair did.
No problem. It's at 8:00 at night too.
Oh Jesus, friend. Yeah, I'm planning on getting mine. I gotta get mine done. Mine's getting a little crazy. Like Swayze.
I'll head over there. I'll grab a beer. They'll do my hair. It'll be fantastic.
Absolutely. You can wear your mask and stay 27 feet away from anyone.
Yes.
Good time. Still just waiting for the full gym reopen. So I've heard somebody tell me I can go back to the Y next week, and then other people are like, oh, no, it's 5 weeks. So I don't know what the hell it is now.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just ready to go to Y. I just want to get in the steam room, Ed. It's hot in there. That should kill the virus, right?
Yes, just stay in there for 2 weeks, and it should be fine.
Oh, gotta be amazing. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, if they would just quarantine me in the Y for 2 weeks, I'd be a happy camper.
Oh, man. Well, that'll do it as we see more and more things open up. Hopefully, the Premier League will be one of them in the next 4 to 5 weeks. So with that, from McCullen Crime, Wes Bradshaw, I am Edward Green. Thank you so much for joining us here for another episode of the Foreign Affair Podcast. Until next time, everyone, please stay safe, wash your hands, and hey, now you can again, enjoy the football.
We'll see you this weekend, Bundesliga!
More Bundesliga. More quality German soccer.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.